When will housing market crash? That is the question every single buyer on US is asking following of the upside. Now, according to the redfine.com, the housing payment has increased by more than 90% since May 2020. Now, according to the in May 2020, the average house renter pays around 3000 US dollar a month for average home. Today, this is increased record high to 2500 US dollar a month. Now, looking at the housing market, never more expensive, but month or month it is becoming worse. After analyzing dozens of data points, now we are seeing the bubble clearly. Here is the question rises. Everyone, when this bubble is going to burst? This is the questions which is keep rising in the investor mind. And today's video we are looking forward to exactly providing you detail and perspective when and why the bubble is going to burst of housing market. Before starting this video, we need to look at the most important data points in real estate supply side and inventory situations. Right now, if we look at the current inventory situation, what we are looking for, this is a low, and if we compare to the last pre 2020 inventory according to the Allot research, and we see this is the only there is the only inventory available, which is almost 400,000 homes are available for sales, and we are keep moving in the compared to the 2021. Right now, the significant value of this inventory as compared to 2020, it's very low. Now, supply of home is really well below interest. It is a happening despite the fact of the price are growing very rapidly. Now, when it's come to affordability issue, because of the very low supply side in the market, the price of the home skyrocketed very high. It is the only because of these things are happen due to the market crashes, and it is happening just because of the Fed is starting to raise hike in 2022, and from January 2022 to October 2022, this is the time period when the Fed has been hiked their interest rate at the level of the peak from 3% to 7%, which is almost high since the last 30 years. Now, have a look at the another data. We can see this is a single graph the month preceding this decisions, and so the price and finally is slowing down the data interest rate, and at the peak level it is right now it's available on the peak level. And now look forward the another data which is tells us why this mortgage rate is nearly high. Just because of that, the people are paying the monthly payment, which is almost 2500 US dollar per month in just 9 months. And before 9 months later, which is the people are paying their interest rate, which is almost 6000 US dollar, which is quite shocking. And when you look at the cause of the massive affordability issues, and it is almost slowed down, and the early 18s when this thing happened at this time in early 18, this is the same thing happened when the early 18s nearly high, and the Fed essentially shows the tranquilities. Now have a look at the January data, which is almost keep getting a massive discount, and the Fed essentially saw tranquilities and overranging market, and the short did up. It is the job of this Fed market. It is going down, and the thing is slowed down because of the market did not collapse. It's still on the top. The bad news over here is that the rate are since stabilized in the narrow in the 6 to 7% inventory or the stop on the moving forward as we look at the next few quarters. In essentials times, the staying the flags movement and the experts are including those are algos and research. They found that the end of the year we will get almost 500,000 of properties on ready to move, and which says that the we of this year we can get this amount of property before the market closes on this year. Now, when we see the supply side of what is the growth in supply, of this house. And now we have to look at that as we start with saying the way that but here is the bad news when it's come to play. The all home buyers has no hope to near future that larger price is being declined and coming anytime in future. This decline is not the happens unless seeing the massive changing happen. We are already seeing the massive growth in supply data. That's why the many of people are not really essential and they're not really ready to buy the inventory as a peak level. And there is a rising peak right now, and if we are seeing that rising peak, it is coming down in near future just because of they know that the recession is not the only way to reducing their home prices very low. Now have a look at the another data which just tells us about the, you can see the price are relatively stronger going to be in the winter, but because of the next year's story we are going to be interesting, and just because of the beginning of this data. And now we know the economy or slowdown is just sure maybe heard in the news and overcoming the recession in the last 2 years. But today the most optimistic investors are not able to just optimist in future just because of they know that in future the crisis it will be rise up in near future. Now have a look at the another data. Now it is tell us the quickly overlook of the treasury spread report. It is clearly says that the future overlook is strongly we cannot predict what is going on in future in near future almost. And if you look at the history of this recession, 8 to 9 recession which has happened since 1961, and this is the same thing is happened right now, and it's a flashing red blank over the housing market. Now this is the in fact the number is going on the bad, and if we convert that probability as a 68% chance is a big trouble it is happen in near future just because of the last recession it's happened in near future. And this is the same thing it can be happen in near future just because of this thing is repeatedly happened in the last several years. Now since the price of this housing market is higher than 2007 and the priority of the great financial crisis, and we are seeing that growing the evidence and index and trouble ahead, and US empire and manufacturing's most reliable healthcare manufacturing trust is also collapsing, which is almost 42 points in the year month collapse in just a matter of 1 month. This is the outside on the lockdown era. When the outside the lockdown era, in that lockdown era, the single biggest thing is that happened in history. Also the failed nearly record low and indicating the same coming in recession. Many of business owners are feeling the golden period is over, and many of investors are predicting that this is the next year is going to be ugly. It's going to be a bad year for this recession time. And that's why the many of investors are moving from the housing market to the stock market, which is really common for the investor. And if you are an investor, you may be doing the same thing as they are doing. If you are really wanted to drop the home prices, then the inventory of this home prices it must be increased very rapidly. Now look at the another aspect of this data. We are especially are seeing the number of the family homes is a sales is count over the 400,000 and 800,000, which is almost going to be a game changer once it is happen. Once it is touch the level of $8,000, it's going to be a very low prices in of home in your future, and the interest rate is relatively higher and employment would be jump at the top level. And once it has happened, then definitely the price of this home is maybe going down very significantly as they are now. Right now the summer is a peak level, and when it's come to cool down the factors will change dramatically. There are several reasons why the Fed has been declined their interest rate just because of that. Now look at the Fed data. Is there many people are believe that the push of this high rate of this Fed market is just because of the market concession has been since aligned with the belief, and but when we see the power background, they will see he is always aware about the incomplicancy of earlier posts, and he understands the duty of the break and back of inflation. So far is doing their job just because of they know they are planning all the things they really wanted to embrace in near future. And number two, another thing which is getting really better in the near future, and when you look at the last few 1980s times when the progress had been began and at their peak level, and at the time when the recession is happened just because of the Fed has been taking so many bad steps just because of the inflation is not the right course of actions as they did. But if you don't tighten the screw of this interest rate, then the emerging evidence is saying that we have not reached the phase right now. So the moral of the story is that if interest rate has been going down significantly, then maybe it is a more likely chance to be stock market is go at the top level, and it may be a significant chance for the real estate market to go down. And that's why the many people are just starting to investing in stock market just because of that. Now have a look at the another data which is tells us about the inflations and how the Fed is increasing their rate from the low level to significant level just because of they really wanted to embrace the economy and increase the level of consumptions in the market. Now if the Fed raises the interest rate and the more because of the same thing happen and the mortgage rate is back down, and now if the economy turmoil is got worse, then employment is slowly taken further and it may be a disaster in the future. You can see the back summer in 2022 when the Fed originally began to tighten their screw and the rising their interest rate at a massive level, and the supply of the causes are the feeling today we still that the investors make up their significant portions over the market. And according to the most common source of strategy, it is estimated almost 80% of mortgages have the rate below 5%. Even though it is a pupil, you're not gonna be sell their prices, even the housing prices has been declined very significantly. But in order to get the more inventory in a supply, we had to come the investor who is still holding this despite the scare of 2022 market crash. When the phase has been began to crash and hitting the ball and families buying the panicking the investors and all these sources, and we with the demanding or the offering the buyers, and we are aware about the failing the market crashes and reasonable buyers and does not have any situation to wise up in near future. Now the housing crash of 2024 will be beginning and the long awaited side reversals. And thank you for watching this video, and we will meet in the next video. Thank you.